The Dog Who Waited at Platform 9. The Dog Who Waited at Platform 9. The last thing Rusty remembered clearly was the sound of the train doors closing, a sharp metallic slide, a warning bell, and his owner's voice saying, "Stay." Rusty always stayed. He was a golden retriever with soft amber fur and eyes that held unquestioning loyalty. He didn't understand why they were at the train station that morning. He only knew that his favorite human, Daniel, smelled different, not angry, not sad, just distant. Daniel knelt down before boarding. He scratched Rusty behind the ears the way he always did. "Be a good boy. I'll be back soon." Rusty wagged his tail so hard his whole body shook. Soon meant treats. Soon meant park. Soon meant dinner. Soon meant safe. The train doors closed. Rusty sat, because Daniel had said stay. Minutes passed. Then an hour. People stepped around him. Some smiled, some frowned. A child tried to pet him, but was pulled away by her mother. Rusty didn't move. Daniel would come out of the big metal snake any moment now. The sun shifted across the sky. The station grew quieter. Still, Rusty stayed. That night, a security guard approached. "Hey, buddy, where's your owner?" Rusty perked up at the word owner. He stood, tail wagging hopefully, scanning faces in the distance. No Daniel. The guard sighed and left a small bowl of water beside him. Rusty didn't drink much. He didn't want to miss Daniel's return. The next morning, he was still there, Platform 9. Same spot, same direction, waiting. Days turned into weeks. Rusty began searching. Maybe Daniel had gotten lost. Maybe he was on another platform. Rusty walked up and down the station, nose close to the ground, tracing faint traces of scent that were already fading. He checked the benches where they once shared sandwiches. He checked near the ticket counters where Daniel once laughed at something on his phone. He checked the parking lot. Every sound of approaching footsteps made his ears rise. Every familiar coat color made his heart leap. Every time, it wasn't him. But Rusty never stopped believing, because Daniel had said soon. A woman named Mrs. Alvarez noticed him after the second month. She worked at a small flower stall near the station entrance. Every morning, Rusty would sit near her stand before returning to Platform 9. "You're still here?" she whispered one chilly evening. Rusty wagged his tail politely. She began leaving him scraps of food. At first, he only ate after scanning the crowds carefully, just in case Daniel appeared while he was distracted. Eventually, hunger won. He grew thinner. His fur lost some of its shine, but his eyes never lost their hope. Seasons began to change. Spring arrived, and colorful wildflowers began to bloom alongside the station tracks. Rusty watched the passengers get on and off every day, his ears perking up at the sound of every footstep. Then came the heat of summer. The sun beat down on the station roof, and the air was thick and warm. Rusty found a small patch of shade near the ticket office, but he never moved far from his spot on the platform. Autumn leaves began to swirl around Rusty's paws in shades of deep red and burnt orange. The wind grew chilly, and the days grew shorter. Rusty watched the trains come and go through the falling leaves, always waiting for one specific face. When winter arrived and the first snowflakes fell, the station became very cold. Mrs. Alvarez, who worked nearby, came over with a thick, warm blanket and a bowl of food. "Come home with me, Rusty," she said gently. "It's too cold to stay out here." Rusty looked at Mrs. Alvarez and gave her hand a polite, soft lick. He gently nudged the blanket away and turned his gaze back to the empty tracks. He could not leave his post. He had to be there when the train finally arrived. Many years passed by the station. The trains changed, and the people changed, but Rusty remained. His bright golden fur began to turn white around his muzzle, and his eyes grew a little cloudy with age. Every evening, when the 5 p.m. train whistled in the distance, Rusty would slowly pull himself up. He would stand as tall as his old legs allowed, scanning the crowd of people for his friend Daniel. Rusty grew old and gray, but he never lost his hope. He stayed a loyal friend to the very end, a golden shadow on the platform, waiting faithfully for the day the train would bring Daniel back home. One quiet evening, as the sun melted into orange behind the rails, Mrs. Alvarez brought him a soft blanket. She sat beside him. "You're tired, aren't you?" Rusty leaned gently against her. For the first time, he allowed himself to rest without lifting his head at every sound. The station lights flickered on. A train approached. The familiar metallic screech echoed across the platform. Rusty's ears twitched. Weakly, he lifted his head one last time. His cloudy eyes searched the doors as they opened. Passengers stepped out. Strangers. All strangers. But Rusty's tail tapped softly against the ground anyway. Just in case. Just in case this was the soon he had been promised. No one called his name. No one knelt down. No familiar hands reached for him. The train doors closed again. The platform grew quiet. Rusty lowered his head onto the blanket. Mrs. Alvarez stroked his fur. "You were the best boy," she whispered. Rusty's breathing slowed. In his final moments, something shifted. Maybe it was memory. Maybe it was imagination. But in his fading vision, he saw Daniel walking toward him. Younger, smiling, arms open. "Good boy, Rusty." His tail wagged once. Just once, and then stillness. The next morning, Platform 9 felt different, quieter, as if something sacred had left. Mrs. Alvarez placed a small wooden sign near the bench. It read, "Rusty, he waited." People began leaving flowers. Some left dog treats. Some knelt and cried for a dog they had never owned. Because loyalty like that reminds humans of promises they sometimes forget to keep. No one ever learned why Daniel never returned. Maybe life swallowed him whole. Maybe he meant to come back and couldn't. Maybe he simply forgot. But Rusty never forgot. He waited through heat, through snow, through hunger, through time itself. Because when Daniel said soon, Rusty believed him. Some dogs don't just love once. They love forever. Even when forever breaks them.